The crime that shattered Rhode Island was one of unspeakable violence. Olalekan Olawusi, a man once seen as just another face in the community, was accused of committing the most horrific acts imaginable. First-degree murder and 2 counts of inflicting serious bodily injury to a child. The brutality of the charges shook families to their core, leaving a trail of grief that would never fully heal. But the horror didn't stop with the crimes themselves. It grew even darker when Olawusi chose to run. The revelation stunned both law enforcement and the public. Instead of standing trial, Olawusi became the subject of an unlawful flight to avoid prosecution warrant. Investigators believe he fled across the ocean to Nigeria, the country of his birth, where family members and close associates may be protecting him. What could have been a case of justice served instead spiraled into an international manhunt, a chase across continents, fueled by betrayal and fear. The investigation was relentless. The FBI, U.S. Marshals, and local Rhode Island authorities issued wanted bulletins, appealed for public help, and tracked tips that stretched across borders. Every detail about Olawusi was circulated: his background, his alleged crime, his possible connections to criminal activity beyond the murder case. Some reports hinted at ties to fraud networks and schemes that may have funded his escape and hidden lifestyle abroad. Yet, despite years of pursuit and international cooperation, the fugitive remained beyond reach, shielded by distant loyalty and silence. The mystery deepened with every passing year. How can man charged with crime so grave evade capture in a world where borders are closely watched, passports are tracked, and fugitives rarely go unnoticed? How strong is his network of protection, and what risks are protectors taking to keep him hidden? The enigma is what makes Olawusi's story one of Rhode Island's darkest unresolved cases. The victims' families still wait for justice. Communities still whisper about the man who vanished, and the FBI still lists him as wanted, determined to bring him back to face the charges that could lock him away for life. Yet, as time passes, the shadow of uncertainty grows. For the families of those he is accused of harming, every passing year without justice feels like another wound. The fear lingers not only because of what he has done, but because of what he might still be capable of doing. A man who could inflict such brutality once may do so again. And as long as Olalekan Olawusi walks free, that possibility haunts every step of this case. This is not just a story of a fugitive. It is a story of lives torn apart, of justice denied, and of a man whose past caught up with him, only for him to run. It is also a reminder that fugitives do not simply vanish. They survive by leaning on those willing to hide them, and by slipping through the cracks of international borders and legal systems. In Nigeria, where Olawusi is thought to be shielded by relatives, whispers have circulated about his possible involvement in crimes resembling those he left behind. Some reports hint at a potential connection to domestic violence incidents and even financial scams that prey on unsuspecting victims, a pattern that aligns with how fugitives often fund their hidden lives. Others believe he may be living under an assumed identity, embedded in communities too fearful or too loyal to reveal his true presence. But what if the FBI's assumption is wrong? What if Olawusi never left the United States at all? Authorities cannot fully rule out the possibility that he is still hiding in plain sight, perhaps in a neighboring state, or even across the borders into Canada or Mexico. Disguise, forged documents, and networks of silent supporters could allow him to vanish into the background of everyday life, while investigators continue their search oceans away. The longer he remains at large, the more the mystery deepens. Is he a shadow in the streets of Nigeria, blending into busy markets and guarded compounds? Is he running small-time fraud schemes to sustain his life on the run? Or is he closer than anyone thinks, a fugitive hiding in the very country whose justice system he fled? Every year without answers makes the case of Olalekan Olawusi more chilling. His charges alone are horrifying, but the uncertainty of what else he may have done, and where he may be now, keeps families, investigators, and entire communities haunted by his name. The case of Olalekan Olawusi is not just a story of one man's crimes. It's a story of justice denied, of a fugitive who vanished into the shadows, and of the unanswered questions that continue to haunt both investigators and the public. And so we are left asking, did Olawusi escape to Nigeria, or has he been hiding in the U.S. all along? What other crimes has he committed while on the run? Who is protecting him? And how long can they keep him safe? Could he strike again? And most terrifying of all, will he ever be caught, or will he remain a ghost forever? Olalekan Olawusi may have disappeared, but the hunt for him continues. How long can he run? Tune in for further details.